Why not call Adit Modi, who can enlighten us with Bedrock?
Yeah. Hi everyone. So slides working right. Okay. So yeah, I'll just give a overall understanding of what the session is going to be. So my sessions on building responsible AI applications with guardrails for Bedrock. So the idea again is we build a lot of generative AI applications in our day-to-day life with the advent of or with the use of Bedrock. But security is something that's often forgotten, right? So people don't really talk more about security when it comes to generative AI applications. So my focus is on having security measures in place when you build your generative AI applications. So we'll discuss on a couple of areas where security is should be you should follow some security best practices when it comes to building the applications. I'm focusing on Bedrock, right? And I think Mike has a couple of good understanding around Bedrock. So I hope security is considered in this as well. And also anyone who's taking the session, you'll get a lot of value in this session if security is something that you are wondering about within the Bedrock space, right? So okay. The Okay, so a little bit about myself. Hi, I'm Adit Modi. I'm a senior DevOps engineer at Simfum, and I'm actively involved with a lot of communities, the AWS user group Vadodara, the HashiCorp user group, and a couple of others. I'm also a passionate mentor, and I try and help aspiring technologists start their career or advance their careers within the AWS space. Yeah, so that's about me. Yeah, so as I was saying, we'll go with one by one. So first we'll discuss the challenges of generative AI. Then we'll, go with the introduction to Amazon Bedrock. Then we'll go the importance of guardrails, and then, guardrails for Amazon Bedrock. It's a demo, so I have some couple of screenshots. So I'll share with you the screenshots, and we discuss those. And then there will be a conclusion or takeaways from the session, right? So that's going to be the agenda for the session. Okay, so the challenges for generative AI, right? So the important aspect to think about is couple of very challenges when it comes to generative AI, right? So there is undesirable and irrelevant topics, toxicity and safety, including brand risk, privacy protection, and bias and stereotype propagation, right? So those are a couple of challenges of generative AI. I'd also like to highlight, right, when it comes to generative AI, there are a couple of different challenges, right? So when you build an generative AI model, you do have a couple of areas that you want to look at, right? So be it a model that I build with Bedrock and maybe any open source model, I do have this couple of challenges when it comes to generative AI, right? So it could be irrelevant topics, it could be something which is brand risk, right? So when I build a model and I want that model to respond to my text, it could basically be like it maybe gives a competitor's answer, right? So that kind of a brand risk is also involved, right? And there is toxicity, right? So toxicity would be something like maybe some poor or violence or some misconduct within the model response, right? So we also want to avoid that when it comes to the response that the model gives, or the prompt the model responds to, right? And then privacy protection is again, think of it like I do have some sensitive data that is stored for in this model for my application, for my users. I also want to avoid this sensitive data being passed or being shared with users, or the model responding with this sensitive information. So that also needs to be reducted, right? And yeah, bias and stereotype propagation. So again, when it comes to the response, there is a lot of bias within the response that it generates. So that also is one of the challenges of generative AI. Okay, so introduction to Bedrock. I mean, Bedrock already we have got a brief understanding of Bedrock. but I do have a couple of things to mention here. So again, Bedrock fully managed service has a couple of different companies that are giving the open source models to Bedrock, and Bedrock, key features again would be simplifying the infrastructure and pre-trained models as well as good integration with AWS, right? And you see a lot of these different companies which have the open source models that are available with Bedrock, right? That would be the introduction. I think Anthropic, Cohere, and Minstrel are a few of them. Okay, so building generative AI apps requires additional controls, right? So you need to have a few customizations based on your use cases and based on your organization policy, right? So think about it that I might need to have a few different customizations that I might want to do for building this application, right? So something that I was mentioning earlier was I might want the model to give me responses based on my organization's policies or things that I want only within the company to be share, right? So those kind of details, and I want to redact or not share a couple of information as well, so I can filter out those information with Bedrock as well. Right? So yeah, that's one of them, and then safety and privacy controls for responsible AI. So again, few safety measures that I might want to include within the apps that I build. So things like maybe I want to have a few words which are not going to be which are going to be filtered out, which are not going to be spoken. So those kind of things to have safety and privacy. So again, privacy, we discussed this again, PI, data, personal identifier information, and then a consistent safeguard across FMs and applications. So again, this is the output that you get from different foundational models and application should have consistency, as well as the safeguards should be consistent across models. So with the topic that we're going to be discussing, the guardrails, it is going to be consistent. So consistent meaning if I employ a guardrail on a particular model, then if I do it across different models, there will be consistency in how the guardrail captures and processes it. So let's say I use one model one day and then use another model, the guardrail on top of it would remain same. So I'll be getting that consistency with it. So if I want some PI to be not shown or words to be filtered out or things like that, that would remain consistent when I show it, or maybe when I use these models for Bedrock. Okay, so importance of guardrails, right? So when we build generative applications, we generally have to use a guardrail on top of it. The reason for using this guardrail is again to avoid it being sharing information that it shouldn't, right? So the how many times have you noticed that the model shares information that it shouldn't be sharing or it shouldn't be showing, right? So those are the reasons for using guardrails, right? I will show some of the. Yeah, so these are a couple of the areas where guardrails is used. So filter out harmful content, right? So something like a hate speech, insult, right? Sexual content or violence or misconduct. So these things need to be filtered out, right? Then blocking undesirable topics, right? So a couple of times it is also things like so if you are an insurance firm, you might not want to give financial related information. So how my stocks performing, what is the increase, decrease, or some companies also have those restrictions that you don't want to give out that information to the end users or to people using your model. So in that cases, you can also block undesirable topics, right? So that's again one of the reasons or one of the ways why guardrails are important. Redact sensitive information, we discussed this a couple of times in the slides as well. PI information, both in the user inputs as well as the outputs, can be redacted, right? And enforce custom word filters. So detect and block sensitive or specific custom words and phrases. So profanity or competitor names. So I again mentioned this, that if you are someone who's building a model for your particular website, and the response that you get for this model don't have your company's name but other competitor's name, how do you feel, right? So that's something, again, this is again why we need to enforce some custom word filters and have this kind of guardrails in place when you build ML model or AI model, right? Okay, so this is, structurally how guardrails on Amazon Bedrock work. So you have a user input, and the user input has some guardrails. So there are four topics here. So there is denied topics, that's content filters, AI reduction, and word filters. Right. So those are the four core areas or topics where you can, maybe and limit the user or the model to give a proper response and filter the unnecessary or those bits out, right? And for both the user input as well as the FM output, you have these filters in place. So this will ensure, or these guardrails will ensure that any model that you deploy on Bedrock will have these things in filtered out, right? So okay, with the demo, I guess. Yeah, I do have something to share. Maybe I can just go over there and show it. Okay, so yeah, so this is the demo that I wanted to show. So here, if you see, this is the content filters. Here you will see a couple of prompt filters and response filters. So you can select which ones to, for prompting, which ones to have, and for response, which filters to do. And you can select the range. You can select it high, medium, low, things like that. And this is again for something like a insults, hate, violence, misconduct, sexual conduct, right? So those kind of things can be filtered as part of these guardrails. Okay, so again, this is one of the denied topics. So a couple of words or phases that I can deny are also part of this. So avoid. So here I've given a context, or I've taken an image where we've given a context saying that this particular words should be avoided, or you shouldn't be talking about this. So this means the denied topics. Whenever your model is being invoked, these couple of topics would be avoided, or it will be filtered out saying you cannot be using these things, right? So again, this is another example, right? Here you are saying that you edit and words and phrases. So this is how you edit it, right? So if you see here, we have a couple of words that you edit, and here when you give it to a cloudy model, and it shows that okay, this is something that is not. I cannot talk about this because this is filtered out, right? Yeah, so this is again PI, right? So here you see you have put email, phone, name, bank account number, and those details. Those are all blocked out, right? So that is again another way, right, of you blocking sensitive information filters, right? Yeah, so this again, when I try and put an email, it says that okay, this is masked, I cannot be, so it's denied because of its PII, so personally identified information, the email cannot be used, so this is how it's blocking it, right? Okay, so this is again another, so I talked about a couple of different areas, so I talked about PII, I talked about filtering, I talked about denying different words. There is again another one thing called contextual grounding check. So essentially what I'm trying to do here is, I try and see if factually correct or, information which is, what it needs to be, right? So that is how I try and give my model saying that, okay, it has to be feed and it has to have the relevant topic to be shared with the users. So, contextual grounding check, essentially you have two thresholds. So one is, grounding score threshold, and the other one is, relevant score threshold. So you can increase and decrease your thresholds to, make it more relevant, make it more specific to the users or the use case that you're trying to focus on. So that is again another filter, another check that you can do. So there are a couple of these, different filters, checks, and things that you can do as part of your guardrails for Bedrock. So that is again, a very, interesting thing, or, from a security perspective, this is very, very interesting, helpful, right? Okay, so I think I had a very short and simple presentation. So the focus again is on a couple of these things. So security in Gen AI, right? So why security in Gen AI is important? That was the core focus. Deep dive into Amazon Bedrock security features. So I know we just discussed on guardrails and not on the other features. So there are a couple of other features as well, which are very important. Something like private link is very important when it comes to Bedrock. So private link ensures that you have your Bedrock not go over the request and the response not go over the internet. So that's again another feature of Bedrock security. So I just talked about a very high level overview of things, but in detail there are other things also that are important. And then importance and implementation of guardrails, right? So we discuss guardrails in detail. We discuss a couple of topics or areas where guardrails are used and important, right? So those again we discussed. And practical demonstration, I shared you a couple of screenshots of how you filter things out, how you ensure that your model does get the right value or does get the right context when it comes to the response, both in terms of the prompt, in terms of the response as well, right? Okay, I think that was it. Just go. Any questions? If someone has any questions, do let me know. I can answer questions around these guardrails in Bedrock as well. Yeah, any questions? Anything? No? No questions? This is probably the easiest thing to present when there is no questions. So you have everything for yourself. Okay, so where you can learn more, right? So a couple of areas, a couple of links for you to learn more on. So guardrails on Amazon Bedrock is a particular link you can open and just try and go through it. There are a couple of different options. AWS community, community.aws also has a couple of good blogs where you can learn more about the guardrails on Bedrock. So I will leave you with these two links to explore more on. Yeah, I think that would be it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Adit sir, for your amazing session. That was insightful. And now, as we are proceeding towards the end of our fantastic Gen AI Day, so I would like to welcome Dhaval Pancholi sir for closing note. And before we start our closing note, let's welcome our own Chirag Darji sir for facilitating Adit sir.